Welcome to Using Linux. I'm Horit. Let's continue with our discussion on directory and modifying the kind of permissions that we can have on these directories. So in our previous session, we had a look at the change mod command, where we can use the UGORA to modify the user permissions. We want to now move into another way of doing a similar thing, but this time it is known as the octal format. And this is going to be more compact, but there's a few things that we need to learn or look at so that it kind of makes sense. Now we can determine the permissions in terms of setting bits. And when we look at each section on the permission list, whether it's going to be the user, the group, or other, we can view each of those as if we are setting bits, turning them on, turning them off. Now, each bit has a distinct position where the first bit is going to be R, represents read. The second bit is going to represent write. And the third bit is going to represent execute or X. And that is if we are counting from left to right. If we're counting from right to left, then it means that X is going to be the first bit, W is going to be the second bit, and R is going to be the third bit. All right. Now, irrespective of how you look at it, what you want to bear in mind is that R is always going to be that leftmost bit, and X is always going to be that rightmost bit, and W is going to be that bit that falls into the middle. Now, because of the placement and because of the binary number system, whenever we work it out, we know that R is going to be 4, W is going to be 2, and X is going to be 1. That's just how the maths works out. So here's the thing. We can use 3 digits to represent the owner, the group, and other. And by virtue of the value that we place there, then it will tell us the kind of permissions that we are setting. So let's jump over into the portal and do a few examples so that you can see what is happening. So let's exit from Bob. We're back at Kalemi. We are at home, so it means that we need to be going back into the Kalemi folder. And once we are there, let's do a ls. And we're looking at this file1.txt. So ls-l. And let's locate the file1.txt, and here it is. So note the owner, and I'm going to start calling the owner the user. The user has read-write access. The group has read access. And others has no access at all. We want to give others some access. We want to, in other words, turn on all the bits, the read, the write, and the execute for others. So chmod, well, let me clear first. So chmod, and well, let's just modify everything. I'm going to use 777. And we need to indicate the file. So it's file1.txt. And let's now clear and have a look at what that does. So ls/l file1.txt is right here. And notice what we have done is we have turned on read, write, and execute for the three entities, both for the user, the group, and others. So what 7 does is it turns on all the bits. And if we go back to the documentation, if we turn on read, we turn on write, and we turn on executable, then 4 plus 2 give us 6 and 1 give us 7. So it means that the value 7 is going to turn on everything. Suppose we only wanted to turn on all of them just for others, and we want to remove the access for everything else. Then what we could do, going back where we are, it's change mod 007. So what this means is that we're turning off everything for the user. We're turning off all the bits for the group, but we want to ensure that all the bits for others has been set. Remember, the file that we're working with is file1.txt. So now, just so we see what is happening, right now everything is set for the user, the group, and others. But what we're trying to do now is to remove everything from the user and the group, but leave all the bits set for others. So we execute the command, and then we're going to do a ls-l. Again, we have identified file1.txt, and look at what has happened. We have pretty much zeroed out everything else. In other words, we have turned off all the other bits. And the only bits which are now on are the read, write, and the execute for others. That's clear. And what if I want to put on read, write? Just read and write for the user. Then that would be change mod. Read and write would be 4 plus 2 give us 6. So read and write, 4 plus 2 give us 6. So it will be 6, it will be 0, it will be 7, because we still want to keep all the bits turned on for others. And it's file1.txt. And if we go and have a look at what obtains, then please note, we have now turned on the read and the write for the user. We have left the read, write, and execute on for others. And we have also ensured that nothing is set for the group. Let's say we want to turn on just the write for the group and keep everything else the same way. Then it will be change mod. Remember, it was 6 for read and write. We only want to write alone for the group. If it's write alone, then it means that that is going to be 2. Because remember, 4 means read, 2 means write, and 1 means execute. So all we want to do is turn on the middle piece, the write. So that would be 2. And 7 would give us the read, write, and execute for others. And this is going to be file1.txt. And now we can do our ls again. Going back to the files, and note we have obtained exactly what we want. We have turned on the write alone for the group. The read, write remains for the user. And the read, write, and execute remains for others. So we have pretty much completed our discussion in terms of directory and permissions. And it's now up to you to practice all of this so that it makes sense for you. Just in terms of a summary, remember, whenever we are talking about a directory, then the read, the write, and the execute means something slightly different than if we're talking about a normal file. So for directory read means we can list the contents of the directory. Execute means we can enter into the directory by making use of the cd command, change directory. And write means we are now allowed to add or remove files to or from the directory, as well as to make modifications to files within the directory. For example, we could change the name of a file if we have write access. So that wraps up our discussion on directories and the attendant permissions. And in the next section, we'll now start having a look at groups and how we create them, how we manipulate them.